Today was Jumu'ah, which is the Friday prayer, and before the sermon, we were reminded really true aspect. I'm sticking to my projects. I'm bringing up my photographic projects, writing projects, my blog site projects. I'm Ayman, and I'm a photographer that writes. Today was Jumu'ah, and I attended my local mosque's prayer. And we were reminded that we are on the first days of Sha'ban, which is the month that precedes Ramadan. And with this video, I want to tell you a bit more of how I celebrate culture as a third culture kid using my creativity tool. This was from last year, and I was really going through it and suffering, but of all the crashing and suffering, I always bear in mind that where I am is not my final destination. Today was Jumu'ah prayer for us Muslims, and I was reminded that we are in the beginning of Sha'ban, the month in the Islamic calendar that precedes Ramadan, and I'm so eager and desiring to reach a new Ramadan, inshallah. And this compilation of footage, both horizontal and vertical, is aimed to tell a little bit about how I celebrate my roots. So I'm Amazigh Berber from both of my parents, and I've been always invited to reconnect, tie back, and reconstruct my relationship with culture. So to prevent loss and erasure of our identities as Amazigh, because if we go back in time, Arabization of, for example, Morocco, the country that I am from, has always played a big role in the erasure of Amazigh identities. Growing up, every car ride or walk or family gathering, we were always playing Arab music and Amazigh music. In particular, this is from Udeden group. This group was founded in 1978, and they're from the Sousse southern area of Morocco, where almost the most Amazigh people reside and live. Also, this culture clash between Arabs and Amazighs in our country always has been an issue, and to make this into perspective, our language, Tamazight, was only officialized in 2011 in Morocco, so that was very recent. Our culture was always rooted in being in nature, connected with nature directly. So this was some countryside shots that I was able to get. Also, architecture. Architecture always reminds me of home. This was from a Spain trip that inspired my first number of my magazine, and some footage that I took in the mosque before I was interrupted by this fluffy creature, which is the usual host of the mosque. I was reading some Quran and it needed some cuddles, as you can see. So moments like this really help me to reconnect, to shut down all the chatter and the noise that the world does, and just feel connected to my spiritual side, the creator, and obviously Allah, and with my feelings, with my raw emotions. So I was reading this book about media and digital culture and transformation. This is a new library nearby, and the view park from the library was just stunning. There was actually a biking sport event, and yeah, this is the entrance of the gardens, these city gardens, just capturing a romanticizing life, as always. And I really enjoyed this day because I was able to get so much reading done, which is, yeah, very cool. In fact, this is a brief recap of my day and how that day ended. And of course, while, being out and just, shaking and baking out and about, other than attending usual prayers at the mosque and just wandering while reading, I really enjoy um, book shopping and shopping in general in markets because they remind me a lot of souks. And this habit of mine of last year was just to keep vlogging my life away, and I just added some random Kalthoum or Arab music, and yeah, that was the vibe. So this was me trying to scout some locations, and I used an AI bot to see how he recognizes the suq imagery and, yeah, visuals. So I got some inspo from there. This is a Discord bot, and as you may know, AI is basically taking over our lives and our work. So as a writer and illustrator, not illustrator, but I work with visuals, so as a photographer. So we might as well use it, at our advantage. So that's what I'm trying to do in the next few months. Okay, on the value of culture and family, I now shall read my short prose that I wrote for this video.
أعطني حريتي أطلق يدي which really brings me joy and warms my heart. I mean, there is something about casually hopping on a train that, in the company of my novel of the month, breathing in and steering into my fantasy and imagination allows my mind to take up space and reminding me that I am enough. The second act is about nostalgia. Sweet stories from back then remind me of the warming hospitality and guests welcoming of my culture, a constant reminder to embrace each and every part of yourself. Consciously knowing that once the nostalgia is gone, the thumb steps of the cold weather will be felt unkind. In return, my mind makes room for a new reminder of mirroring that same kindness we reserve to others back inside. In Kalthoum's words, it was an edifice of fanciful imagination. Give me water and drink at its ruins, and narrate on my behalf as long as the tears are narrated. This speaks to me on keeping on pursuing my dreams, feeding my inner love for storytelling, and just keeping on romanticizing decaying Liberty buildings and gloomy market squares. Something as simple as a tour of the local souk, re- reviving my memory of Homeland. Rings, jewelry, rugs, and elders doing their weekly shopping and groceries. Also, on my way back on the train, my head is always spinning
but the simple gesture of opening a book, a novel, or even a non-fiction book, an essay, really makes me stop and not overthink and get lost in the labyrinth of our thoughts. The classic I was reading was Oscar Wilde's most famous piece of work, and as an artist, I think that's a must be, must read. And yeah, the following morning, always blasting Arab music, and this was actually La Vie en Rose remix with Kalthoum, and it's an iconic um, exhibition from The Voice. And in general, just playing music from North African music, Moroccan, Tunisian to Saudi really helps me to focus on housework, basically. But yeah, I was cleaning my place, and obviously also R&B and modern artists that incorporate music and sounds from the Arab golden era of music really resonate with my music taste. So trains obviously grabbed some food right away and picked up some flowers for my next shoot, and pizza is always there in my life. But yeah, this was actually a place where these lighting and installation was placed. Lights in the night really remind me of home, of Marrakesh, of the lit and million lamps that are sold in the square. In general, the candles during nighttime really, in my culture, are associated with rituals that I try to keep alive, of self-care, and dedicate some time for our inner selves. So here is my brother, and usually my companion of silly, stupid things. And yeah, I enjoy a lot hanging out with my 7-year-old brother. And this was some footage from the garden's lighting installation. As I said, just the atmosphere really makes me happy, makes my heart feel of joy, and I'm honestly grateful for just little things like these. This was the guard trying to ask me, ironically, for some pizza, but I bet they were starving because with the cold weather and their work. It was really funny. But as I said, this reminds me of my of traditionally manufactured and handmade lamps, and or in our tradition, there is a lot of handcraft, and just if you are not like an gardener, an agriculture worker, most probably you did you worked as an artisan. So these were the back then the career choices in a sense.
Oh no.
This festival was held this year near Milan, city center, and it was a beautiful celebration of all the world, from calligraphy, from Saudi music to Moroccan jewelry, Amazigh jewelry, and products. So we had showcased rugs, typical scarves, products from spices to argan oil, and it was really, really making me feel homesick. But yeah, overall, the nostalgia and the fun of rediscovering all my roots and traditions that come back from my family and my Amazigh roots was really eye-opening. I'm a bit emotional, to be honest, even looking back at these small videos, because as it basically is 4 years. 4 years since I was last back home. And for this event is hosted by Artigiano in Fiera, and in Italian artigiano means artisan. So it brings back the conversation about manufacturing and handcraftship, and a collection of stands from Morocco, from the southeastern, the Swana area, basically the western and North African area, but there was also Malaysian stands as well as Bengali stands, Italian, European, and all of the rest of the world, from all over the world basically. This performance was the Arda. Actually, the Arda was performed the year before, this year in the Saudi pavilion. The Arda, which is, for who doesn't know, it has its roots in military history and continues to be performed during special occasions. It's basically a sword dance featuring two lines of performers that are usually men, shoulder to shoulder and facing each other. It is a Saudi dance, of course, and the clothing, it's usually long embroidered coats called dahra, with upright collars and 6 buttons. The men wear leather ammunition belts diagonally across their chests and hold their swords in their right hand. The Arda usually begins with a single line of poetry, which I find really, really inspirational, and a lot of music in rap and R&B. It usually uses these musical, beats. I know this Sudanese artist that used one of these tunes, basically incorporated in its music. I love how the diaspora kids incorporate this in modern music. But yeah, going back to the topic, today's and the similarities with Amazigh culture is how, for example, textile culture is very rooted and intertwined with agricultural and rural symbols. And this is a common factor of the MENA, the Middle Eastern, North African area. Also, dances like the Burida and Arabic calligraphy are basically included in the UNESCO heritage list.
صغارك إن شاء الله.
So this basically was it. I left some footage for you to see, to enter these magical, multicultural celebration of cultures and of people. I love to see faces and stands so well curated in details to showcase our cultures and traditions from my own people and people from all over the world. I always get excited when I see these elderly people that reminds me, of my grandma, or in general of my family, my extended family. So I came back home, and we usually reserve the rest of the day to, rituals. And I love to put on some, argan oil or massage some of it on my skin, and staying always connected to my culture. For example, just by playing a random YouTube short film of Amazigh actors. As you can see, it just lifts a bit of, this nostalgic, heavy feeling off of my shoulders. So that's it. I hope you got to know me a little bit more today, and I see you next